I've seen this, it keeps popping up on my eBay. I don't know what it is. It kind of intrigued me. It was going for like £1.50. It's called a fidget spinner. For work, class and home. These are probably like really popular at the moment. I've just completely missed them. Ooh, it's really like smooth. I really like this. This is like, you know when you spin one of those tabletops and you get it just right and it's perfect? That's like this every single time. Hang on. Ow! Can I balance it? Ta-da! Okay. So this video is actually about a blog or a blog post that I read. He's called Richard, and actually his blog post was about another blog post that he'd read and then his own experiences with that. And now I'm doing a video about his blog post. I hope he doesn't mind me doing a video on this. I think he's subscribed to me anyway. So hi Richard, how's it going? Good blog post. Basically, he was talking about the experience of being ghosted by a friend, and to be honest, I had no idea what that meant. I'd seen him mention it before, having someone ghost you. I was like, what does that mean? Does someone just ignore you? Like, does it mean that they pretend they don't know you? Do they haunt you? And I was reading his blog post, and to be honest, it helped me understand what ghosting is. So I would say there's a couple different types of ghosting, or at least what people might confuse with ghosting. You know, as you grow up, you do lose friends, you do move on, and you grow apart from people, which is unfortunately something that happens in life. And it's great when people are so relaxed that they can be aware that they've grown apart, but at the same time just casually be like, you know, if you see them, just be like, oh hey. But that is something that unfortunately happens, is, you know, you grow apart from friends, you do lose contact with them. But that's not what ghosting is. That's what I thought Richard was talking about when I saw the blog post, and I was kind of going into it thinking, is he just complaining about someone who's not friends with anymore? So what is ghosting? Ghosting is basically when someone cuts you off to the point where it's like they don't exist. And I don't mean they just don't talk to you. I mean they eradicate any evidence that they were ever there in a way that doesn't give any closure, doesn't give any reason. And there's no big argument, there's no end to it, there's just nothingness. There's the friendship or relationship and then nothing. With social media these days, it becomes so much more obvious when someone does that. I think when it comes from some sort of relationship or friendship where you are really close or were really close to them, it can be a bit like, what? When they disappear. And it's something that isn't cool to go through. It really, really sucks. And I think there are ways to avoid it. I think Richard wrote really well about the effects it can have on someone. I've had a couple instances of ghosting myself. I wouldn't really say they're great examples because one of them was after a relationship, which is kind of understandable. We did break up. It wasn't that they ghosted me out of nowhere. We broke up and it was a bad breakup, and I can understand. It was weird because they just completely disappeared into a void. And, you know, I did kind of think, was I that bad? But I understand they had their own things going on and it made a bit more sense. When ghosting isn't cool is when it comes out of nowhere and there's no reason behind it and they won't even give you a reason. It's not like you've had a breakup or you've had a massive argument. It can come from absolutely nowhere, and it makes you question everything. It makes you question if you've done something wrong, if maybe you were always doing something wrong. It's difficult to deal with, and Richard really talks about the effect it has on you, which is good because I think some people don't realise what they're doing, and some people will turn it around and they'll try and make the person who's being ghosted feel guilty, even though they're probably feeling guilty that they're doing this. I did have a friend when I was younger who, he didn't necessarily ghost me completely because I was still sort of able to contact him. I mean, to be honest, I knew where he lived. But, you know, he'd give me his new number and then I'd find out later it's his dad's number. Or, like, he'd constantly be getting new accounts to chat to people and wouldn't tell me, but would tell everyone else. It was just a bit like, what is going on? Like, have I done something? Like, it was all a bit weird. It felt like he was desperate to move on. It came out of nowhere. It was just all of a sudden. I mean, we were best friends before that. There was nothing to even consider. I ended up coming up with things in my head because I was just like, it must be that time I did that, or maybe it was very, very confusing, and it really did mess with my confidence. And Richard in his blog post is also talking about a friendship that he lost. His is a much more serious case though. This is someone he knew for a long time, and they not only cut him off, but they erased all evidence that they existed, which is what I had with the relationship that ended, but again, that was different. It's one thing if someone just wants to disappear from everyone. I mean, obviously that would mean that they're going through something quite serious, but when it's just you, when it's just one person that they cut off, I don't think that's cool. So I would say, if you're ghosting someone, if you're just cutting yourself off from someone, maybe just drop them a message. If they did something that has upset you, drop them a message and be like, hi, sorry about disappearing, but I disagree with what you did here. And you know, maybe they'll apologise. Maybe they'll see what they did wrong. And if they don't, then at least they have a reason. You know, that's what they're missing. They understand why you're moving on. Or if it's, I mean, to be honest, I can't think of any other reason. If you just don't feel like you're close to them anymore as a friend, then, well, you don't have to ghost them. You don't have to cut them off, you know? Because it will mess with their head. And it's not nice. If you feel like you've gone too far and it's too late now to message them, it's never too late. Like, it doesn't matter if they don't forgive you. At least they've got some closure. And I think that's quite important. Just try and remember that they are human. I would say if you're being ghosted, well, I'll link Richard's blog below because he covers it really well and he talks about how he's come to accept something like that. And he's clearly someone who treats his friends well and someone who treasures friendship. If you're going through something like that, look at his blog and take the advice from it and just focus on yourself. It's hard, but you just have to. That's all you can do. So yeah, focus on yourself, that's what I say. And if you did something wrong, just learn from it. Become a better person from it and try and see it as a learning curve in life. I am going to go play with this for the rest of the day. I'm going to really annoy people with this. If I go to Scotland in summer, I'm going to be using this all the way on the car journey. It literally won't stop. This is going to go on forever.